as the case may be, from the Martinsburg Public Library. Gretchen, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And Chanda, Williams-Doles as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Great to have you both here. When we spoke with you a couple months ago, there were some pretty serious financial needs at the library in order to try to get it reopened. Maybe you could summarize some of those needs that we talked about a couple months ago, not the least of which was an HVAC system.
Yes. The library basically is working on a $3.5 million HVAC project. It started off as a $2.5 million project, and then after asbestos was discovered at the library, another $1 million was needed to abate the library. So it's been a huge project. The library has been closed, unfortunately, since August. We have been operating our branch libraries extended hours to accommodate patrons who can no longer be physically in the Martinsburg Library. And we also have staff working out of the back area of the Martinsburg Library, which has been quarantined off from the rest of the library so that staff are safe during the abatement.
Okay, very good. And you got a little bit of a bump here from the legislature in this last 60-day session. Tell me that story.
So we are incredibly thrilled and excited about this. We received a $1 million appropriation toward this project. This is incredibly, this is really going to help us get back together in terms of getting on our feet, getting the library back open. So we are extremely grateful to Senator Jason Barrett, Senator Patricia Rucker, as well as other legislators and senators. They've really helped our librray.
But there've been more than $1 million initially, had it not been. Didn't the governor cut some of it back?
It was cut by $500,000,
okay.
Which obviously we had asked for the 1.5 because that's what we really need to complete the project. So we will unfortunately still have to be doing some cuts in terms of services. We are still fundraising and hoping that people continue to contribute toward this project. At the same time, $1 million is wonderful, and we really appreciate it.
Do you have any reason to know why the governor cut back the $500,000?
I have no idea.
I know you're grateful to get the $1 million.
Yes,
$1.5 million is obviously better, but getting $1 million is a nice bump. How much did you work with Jason and Patricia, Senators Barrett and Rucker, to get this grant going?
So I've actually been going up to Charleston for the last 3 years, telling them about the project. I've talked to multiple senators and delegates about this project. So it's been on their radar for a while, and I think the fact that we sort of hit this crisis situation with the asbestos, that's really why we're moving forward on that. Yeah.
Okay. So you said you will still have to make some cuts.
Yes.
Did the $1 million help you keep from cutting as many things as you thought you'd have to?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what things you will still have to cut at this time, or have you gotten to that point where you're deciphering the $1 million versus the $1.5 million?
I think our branch libraries, they're currently open full. They were open part-time before we before we closed, and we moved them to full time. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to cut them back again. We were hoping maybe not to cut them back as much, but we probably still have to do those cuts.
Okay. And what are your branch libraries?
We have 3 branches. We've got our Musselman South Berkeley Community Library, which is located in the high school. Mm-hmm. We've got our North Berkeley Library and Hedgesville Library.
Yeah. So tell me about the Hedgesville Library, because I think that's the newest of the libraries, is it not?
Correct, yes.
Right. And I know there were some expansion projects that were hoped to be done with the Hedgesville Library and some finishing of floors and whatever. What is the current status of the Hedgesville Library, and what do you still need to do there?
The current status is the Hedgesville Library is it's half finished. So the bottom floor, it's fully functional. I mean, the bottom floor is functional, but the second floor is not finished. At this point, it looks like we're probably on hold long term for that project because unfortunately, Martinsburg Library has taken precedent at this point.
Yeah.
What are the hours of the branch libraries?
The branch libraries, that is a good question. I think they're currently
44 hours.
44, thank you. 44 hours, and we bumped that up from, I think it was 26?
I think 26 is
26.
right.
So 44 hours for each one.
Correct.
Does that include the weekends?
Yes, we have some weekend hours as well.
Including Musselman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, Musselman definitely has weekend hours. It has Saturday and Sunday because we tend to be open when the schools, more so when the schools are closed, because during this week it's harder with the students.
Oh, okay, but now the Musselman Library is in the school, is it not?
Correct.
And if is school open on the weekends?
No.
Then I missed something. How can Musselman Library be open on the weekend if the school is closed?
Well, we have our library staff the library. So the public library staffs the library. So
Okay. So even though the school building is closed, you can still get into to the library.
yeah, and Chanda, you work there.
Yeah, so there's an exterior entrance. It's on the north side of the building, so the public can enter through that exterior entrance at any time.
Okay.
There is a buzzer system, so when someone gets to the library, they buzz in. We just do a double check to make sure there's nothing shady going on, and we let them into the building because it does have direct access to the school, but it is posted everywhere that it's not a through access to the school. So they have to come in, they can get their books, and then they leave back out the public entrance.
We should have known Chanda worked there. She's wearing green.
I'm always wearing green.
Big tip right there. Mr. Miller.
So how does that work at Musselman on a weekday? When school is in, what type of hours are you able to do, and how someone, again, I guess, would just come to that exterior entrance?
Yeah, so we are open from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. on some days and 9 a.m. until 7 on others. So students come in throughout the day and we serve them just as though they were a regular patron. And we work in tandem with the public library or the school librarian that works there. And then if a public patron comes in, we just check them out as normal, just let them know that there's under no circumstances can they go into the school. So.
All right. And it is basically the same library, right? So the students are coming in from one side, the public is coming in from the other, but it is the same library. Is that a model that you've looked at with any of the other schools as we see our population expanding and maybe the need for the library to expand?
I think that it works for our situation in the sense that it's an inexpensive way to provide public access. I will say, though, that I don't think it's a model for the entire system. And the reason I say that is because there are limitations. It's a great idea in some ways, but I do feel like there's a lot of public that actually don't go to that library. They prefer to come downtown instead because of the situation. So.
Yeah, and I would say that we often have people calling and asking, it's in the school, am I allowed to come in here? And you encourage them, yes. That's one of the things as a youth services manager, I go out into the community a lot and talk to like the public, talk to parents and everything and let them know like this does occur. There are people that come in here, but it is safe, we promise. So.
Gretchen, your answer a second ago begged another question.
Yes, sure.
What are the advantages, specific advantages of having a library in the school, and the corollary, what are some of the specific disadvantages of having the school?
Okay, so basically, obviously, the advantage is it's a cost savings in terms of the space, and that in terms of the fact that the library is not we're just staffing it and putting in the books in it. So that's definitely. I think probably the biggest disadvantage is the security. I think that I think. The library where it's situated, the community that it is in, I think it's fairly secure. But I do think that a lot of libraries, it's not a very common thing for a public library to be in a school because of the security concerns. So I think that's probably a big thing. I think also just in terms of space needs, I feel like it's harder, and you can speak to this, it's harder to have public programming there because you're conflicting with the school programming a lot. Yeah. So the space is really sometimes not as usable because of that.
Yeah, we do try to limit our public programming to the weekends for the most part. We have, during the week, it's typically, if we have a program, it's early in the morning, and that's usually our story times, which we do twice a week out there. And then any additional programming we wait and do until after the school hours. And I will say an additional benefit of being in the school is that teens are notoriously difficult to reach. So being in the place where teens have to come in and they have to get books, be it for class or whatever, we can talk to them and see the kind of things that they want to see because they're in school and they have to talk to adults there. So.
Captive audience.
Yes.
We are talking with Gretchen Fry and Chanda Williams-Doles from the Martinsburg Public Library System. Recently, they got $1.5 million grant. The governor vetoed $500,000 of that out in a line item veto, but they still have $1 million coming their way. When do you anticipate getting the actual money, Gretchen?
I do not know that answer.
What does this do for your timeline of reopening the library? How much do you still need in order to get back open?
We're still progressing with the project. So our hope is that we will be open in October. There's no guarantee, but that is the goal. But the project is progressing.
So you needed $2.5 million for an HVAC system, and then another $1 million for the asbestos.
Yes, correct.
This is $1 million here, which still leaves $2.5 million. Was there other money already pledged to make up that $2.5 million that you needed?
We are actually borrowing $1.6 million. So unfortunately, that money will have to be paid back, which will cut into our services. But we're borrowing 1.6. We also have received multiple grants, which have totaled $400,000. And then our last piece is the extra $500,000, which unfortunately we're going to continue to fundraise and try to find.
All right, so we still need another $500,000,
Yes.
and that $500,000 will allow you to finish and do what with the building?
So once this project is complete, we'll have a brand new HVAC. They also are reinforcing the roof, because to put the new HVAC on the roof, they need to reinforce that roof. They're upgrading the electrical, because our electrical was not sufficient to support the new HVAC system. So they're upgrading that as well. They are part of this process is they are actually reconfiguring the ductwork. So it's all new ductwork. The original library, the two sides didn't connect actually because there was an addition in an older part. So this actually brings the whole system together. Mm-hmm. So that is going to actually be, the system will be just so much more efficient and also able to responsive to the library. Modern libraries often have lots of people in them for big programs, and this will be able to get the space properly cool and everything as well. So it's definitely it's a very large project. And of course, the other thing is that all the asbestos will be removed, which the asbestos is this spray-in asbestos that is used for fireproofing, and it was popular in the 60s. That will be all of that will be removed from the building, making the building, of course, a lot safer. So
can you get all this work done and then find the $500,000, or do you need the $500,000 before all the work can be done?
We are doing the work. So the asbestos abatement is going forward, and it's actually close to being, that part's going to be done soon. So yes, we will continue to move forward with the project.
And then how do you pay the $500,000 that you eventually will owe on top of the loan
Yes.
of $1.6 million?
So basically, it will come out of library services. So like I said, unfortunately, we're still going to operate the branches at a much reduced amount. We will probably, we're going to be basically a skeleton crew. Which is not great for the community, but again, we have to move forward with the project. So.
And how long will it take to repay the loan of $1.6 million?
We are anticipating it will probably take 10 years for us.
10 years. And while this is going on, will you continue to have to reduce library services until these bills are paid?
Yes.
All right, very good. Bill?
Yeah, Gretchen, 10, 12 years or so ago, it was assumed that the electronic books would make libraries obsolete, and they would cease, the bricks and mortar library would cease to exist. That's obviously not been the case. Why do you believe that will never be the case?
I think that I think people always like physical books. I mean, there's still books. A million is still going strong, so people are still buying books. Walmart has books, so people still want physical books. Children, especially, I think when they're learning how to read, they need that physical material to read. So I don't think it'll ever go away.
Yeah, and something you said the last time you were on, that electronic books is not free. You have a certain amount. In fact, in some ways, they're more expensive than the cloth-bound books. So
Yes.
that would argue also against the bricks and mortar library going away. So.
Yes, that's true as well.
Well, then I would imagine is the sense of community. I mean, the other things that you do around books. I know my grandson has been at the main branch library before everything got shut down for Lego Club, and being able to be there and hang out and meet new kids and make friends and build Lego projects. So you do a lot more than just what someone may think of as far as a library. It's books. It's a lot more than that.
Yes, that's an excellent point. Yes.
Yeah. I think libraries they refer to them as one of the last true third spaces. So you go into it, you're not expected to pay anything to be there. You're not expected to do anything. You walk in the building and you can just be there with other people. You can be attending a programming. You can be reading a book if you want to, but you don't have to. So I think a modern library, is so much more than just the things that we have on our shelves.
You just mentioned, I just want to ask, because you mentioned it's a free space, and yet you've got $3.5 million worth of work going on, and $1.5 million of that not even expected. How do you make your money? Where are you able to have the funds to offer to a community the services that you offer?
So we're supported by the city, county, and Board of Education, as well as some state funding as well. So we are a government-funded entity. We do charge some for some services, not our core services, but for things like printing, notary. We actually have passport service. So those things, we do generate some income through those.
And by the way, let me recommend the passport service at the library. Absolutely. I've had the opportunity to do that myself, my wife, and my daughter with recent trips over the last couple of years, and it is the best place to go and get that taken care of very efficiently.
Good endorsement.
You mentioned a lot of activities. What are your summer plans? What will you do in the summer?
So that's the fun part that I get to talk about. So every year we have a summer reading program. This year our theme is Color Our World. So it's all about celebrating art in the community and the world amongst each other, just the different ways that we can connect through something other than discussion, art. So we've got a lot going on this summer. Even though the main branch is closed, we're still going to have some programming on the main branch out on the plaza. So a couple little highlights that I'm really excited about. We have a group called Jen's Uncommon Critters that's coming. So they are bringing...
Say that again.
Jen's Uncommon Critters.
Okay.
So they're bringing invertebrates, snakes, hissing cockroaches, all the weird yucky stuff that people tend to cringe away from. We're bringing those out. We're also having a musician called Turtle Dance Music. He is an autism-friendly musician that comes out and he does performances that are both sensory-friendly and family-friendly. So really excited about having them. And that's running from June 2nd to July 26th this year. And to kick off the program on June 7th, we have our annual Comic-Con, which I'm very excited about because this year we're partnering with the Roundhouse in Martinsburg to do it. We typically host it at the Martinsburg branch, but with that being closed, we had to find an alternative location, and they're being very gracious to let us share the space with them this year.
And how many do you expect to attend Comic-Con?
So usually it's upwards of 600 people throughout the day. It's kind of a come and go event. It starts at 10 a.m. and goes to 3, and we have different programs throughout the day. So we're very excited to be able to expand it a little bit more this year with the bigger space. We're going to have more events, more activities. A big highlight is that we were able to book Appalachian author oh my goodness, I just lost his name. An Appalachian author is going to be coming out.
Well done.
Of course I forget it the minute I need it. Pregnancy brain. But so yeah, we got a lot of really fun stuff coming up this summer.
Now the Comic-Con, will everybody be dressing as a favorite superhero?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Will you be going as one?
I will. I have to figure out something that's going to work with a pregnant belly this year because I didn't have that when I was Kim Possible last year. So, yes, we always dress up. We have a Comic-Con or a cosplay contest, so kids can come up. It's all ages, so we have different age range. We have children's, teens, and adults, and the adults always come dressed up too. It's really fun.
Now, Rob, when you're a 10, what will you go as?
When I was what?
You'll be attending, I assume, the Comic-Con. You'll be dressed. What will be your superhero, Joel?
Batman. Everybody wants to be Batman.
I won't be Batman.
Andrew Joseph White is the author that we'll be having
There
out.
you go.
Sorry
Good save. Good save. Nicely done.
Do you find at an event like that you're drawing people from outside of our own local community?
Absolutely. Last year we had people that came all the way from North Carolina that came up for it. Kind of biased because one of the vendors, they were related to them, so they came up, but still they get the word out and they bring people with them that we wouldn't have in our library otherwise, which is really cool.
Your annual budget, Gretchen, each year is what?
$2.2 million.
$2.2 million. And do user fees in the form that, I assume some of these things you must charge for kids to attend, or is everything free?
Everything is completely free.
So there are no user fees generated whatsoever.
No,
I see. Very good. Okay. Do you have late fees for books anymore, or has that gone away?
Yes.
we do. It's 10 cents per item per day to a total of $5, $3 per item, and then DVDs are $1 per day for a total of $3.
But you can rent them for free? You just can't bring them back late?
Yes, correct.
That's the deal, right?
And you can always call us to renew them if you need to.
Okay, very good. I assume that doesn't generate too much revenue, though. And I obviously at 10 cents a day, you're not looking to try to generate a lot on that. You're just trying to get your stuff back.
Yes, that's
Right.
exactly
Yeah.
right.
Right?
It's just
Yes.
an encouragement. Be like, hey, people are probably waiting on this. You
Yes.
should bring it back.
Yeah.
If somebody else would like to use it.
Yes.
But we don't want to get it to the point where people can't use the library because their fines are too high.
Most of the items that you have, are they single copies, or do you have multiple copies of most of the stuff that you have in the library?
Most are single copies. If there's like a really popular item, I know for the adult books recently there was the the Fourth Wing series, which is like a dragon fantasy thing. We got several copies of that. Some children's books, like the classics. We have a couple copies of The Hungry Caterpillar, just stuff like that. Things that are going to check out a lot, that are hot or that are classics.
Okay, very good. I've got about a minute left. If you'd like to donate funds to the Martinsburg Library and their fundraiser, Gretchen, how do you do that? Or Chanda?
Just go ahead and Google the Martinsburg Berkeley County Public Library Asbestos Abatement Project. There is a GoFundMe. Please donate to the GoFundMe.
And if you want to dress up like Batman and attend this, what are the specifics again of Comic-Con?
All right, Comic-Con is this year June 7th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Roundhouse in Martinsburg, and we are also operating that as a fundraiser, so if you'd like to bring any funds with you, you're more than welcome to bring that as well.
Very nice. And do you have to register, or do you show up and attend?
Just show up and attend.
And how do you get a library card, or do you still need one?
You do still need one. You just need to bring a photo ID in with your current address on it, and if it doesn't have your current address, any piece of mail that matches the name on your ID will do.
Okay, very good. And congratulations on your impending
Thank you.
day of arrival.
Thank you.
Is
for
your
you.
first?
It is my first, yes. We're very excited.
Get all the sleep now that you can.
No kidding.
Gretchen and Chanda, thank you.
Thank you.